The flight's in 5 hours. I need to get there a little bit early because I have meetings after, and I'm working today until 6. So I'm just gonna get to the airport early and work from there. But I have these last minute butterflies. Do you guys ever have that before a big trip that you've been planning for so long finally comes around, and I literally feel like a pit in my stomach and like butterflies in my heart? And I love this feeling. I'm so excited. I get to see my best friends tomorrow. I'm traveling to Scotland first, flying into London, and then traveling into Scotland, and then exploring London for like 6 days. Let the trip begin. We took the LNER express train from London's King's Cross station to Edinburgh, and we got the first class tickets, which included food and drinks, but then I feel like there wasn't much of a difference. So if you wanted to save money, you could totally skip out on the first class. It wasn't anything extraordinary, but the views were amazing. So if you go, take the train. Quick Airbnb tour. So pretty. This is the most beautiful view. The bedroom and cute little balcony. Ready for night 1 in Scotland. We're in Edinburgh tonight and we are going out to get some dinner, and I'm really feeling amazing about my outfit. Wearing this wool coat from Neely Lotan, this mock neck sweater, and then just wearing the same jeans that I had on. Have some makeup on and finally feeling like a human being after 24 hours of being just on a plane or on a train and just being exhausted, but feel renewed again. So let's go have a fun night out. The night out was cut short because we realized that we were, after all, human beings in our late 20s, and we were obviously jet lagged and tired after a long trip. The next morning, we had an Edinburgh Castle tour booked, but before that, I had to complete my other agenda, which was to go to as many coffee shops as I could while I was in Scotland and London. So the first stop was obviously a coffee shop, the Milkman, and I didn't really love the desserts here, but the latte was amazing. A video. Who else is team iced coffee no matter how cold it is? Because that's who I am.
Month of August, and every night they'll perform here before the capacity crowd. Now a capacity crowd is 8,800 people, and to accommodate all those people.
The Edinburgh Castle tour was great, very detailed, so if you're someone who enjoys learning about things or is a history buff, you will love it. I will leave the link in the description for you, but even if you're not, I would still go. It was really beautiful. All the buildings, everything was so Victorian, and you just felt like you were transported into a different time, if that makes sense. How that looks, and this looks really good too. The Victoria sponge. gosh, so good. The massive size of my head.
Perspective.
Oh my god. It's our last full day in Edinburgh. It's a cold one today. This is my outfit. I'm wearing a mock turtleneck sweater, trousers that I got yesterday, this belt, and my big coat. Found this cute local coffee shop called Chapter 1 Coffee, and it was all vegetarian and vegan. And I actually really wanted to try Biscoff brownie or Biscoff something while I was in Edinburgh, so this was a perfect place and I loved it. I love feeling like a local wherever I go, so I think finding a local cafe which was like small, really had vegan stuff and great coffee, felt really nice. Highly recommend, even if you're with a group of people, taking time out for yourself, taking yourself out on dates, and prioritizing just reflecting and feeling grateful for all the things you are and all the things you have. That's exactly what I did this morning, and this is our last full day here, so I think now I'm gonna meet up with my friends and we're gonna go get some sushi, walk the Royal Mile, all of that good stuff. Really just spent our last day walking around Royal Mile, walking into random shops. Little Harry Potter store was amazing. And then later that night we had a ghost tour, which I wouldn't recommend. I was expecting so much out of it. I thought it'd be spooky, etc., but I just would give it a miss. It was more of like a history lesson on the graveyard or in the graveyard.
It's not all necessarily marked above ground. In fact, up at St Giles we had the Grizzly Toll Booth prison.
Okay, so here's where the road trip segment of this trip started. The next morning, we were supposed to be driving out to Isle of Skye, and the way this trip was structured was that for the next 3 days, we were just going to be driving on different routes through that part of Scotland and then stop on every scenic location that we wanted to cover. And this was our first day. I'm not a huge road trip girl, but let these views sink in. I tried to do it justice with the camera as much as I could, but you had to be there. It was so peaceful. It was so serene. As we passed these beautiful views and made several stops along the way for coffee and cakes, I could only think about how grateful I was to be able to afford something like this, to be able to have this experience. So while you're watching this, I want you to take a deep breath. Think of where you were 2, 3, even 5 years ago, and take a second to let that sink in and feel grateful. A lot of the times we get so caught up in the mundane, in the pain of our day-to-day existence, and in the little things that bother us that we forget to zoom out and look at the big picture. Let me show you my outfit. I'm wearing my black turtleneck and I'm wearing my full leather pants. I don't know how much you can see. And then I'm wearing the same belt, so it's kind of matched. And then of course, it's our first full day in Isle of Skye. We're staying in this very, very remote cottage. I am not a huge fan of the cottage itself, but the views are breathtaking, as you guys already saw. Yesterday we drove all the way from Edinburgh to Isle of Skye, and we made a couple of stops on the way. Very scenic, very nice drive. We rented a car, so we have it for the next 2 days, including today. We just plan to drive around and look at all of the scenic spots in Scotland. We had a bit of a rough start this morning since the hot water ran out and it's extremely cold here, and I needed to still take a shower, so we're actually pretty late, and now our cottage door won't lock, so I hope we can figure that all out and then be on our way.
Oh, river flow. Long after they go, see they don't disappear, oh no. So the seeds you got to sow, land with those you hold, close to godliness I hope. Be bold, be bold, be bold, be bold. If today was your last day, who'll be your company? What do you wanna be?
One thing I will say is that the food in Scotland, especially this part of Isle of Skye, which was pretty remote, was not our favorite. It was just not the kind of food that we enjoyed, and it was very meat-based, and I'm vegetarian, so I feel like these two spots deserve an honorable mention because they were the best and only spots we liked. It is this Tomita ramen place and then the Birch coffee shop next to it, but Birch was never open except we got lucky the day we were leaving, so we could go there. So I don't know, it's just like you have to play it by ear. It's a remote town, they do what they want to do. We ended this trip with a drive back to Edinburgh and saw this beautiful rainbow, a perfect ending if you ask me.
Be bold.